Hi, welcome to the Urban Outdoorsman SoCal video. My name is Danny Milton, and today we're going to be talking about the Mavic Air 2S. One other thing I want to let you know, I'm out here on the trail doing this video. That's why I've got all this mountain bike stuff on. I didn't want to set up my bedroom to do this video, sitting down behind a couch. I like doing these videos out in the open where I like to roam. I am an urban outdoorsman, so that's why I've got this getup on doing this review. I figured I'd just come out here while I'm on a bike ride and do this really quickly to get this out to you guys so you can hear my 2 cents or my half-assed opinion on the Mavic Air 2S. Now, the Mavic Air 2S just came out about a month ago, and it's the hottest, newest toy that everybody's buying. The main difference between the Mavic Air 2S and the previous generation is it has 2 more sensors on the top, and the big thing is that it's got a full 1-inch sensor camera on the front, which will deliver up to 5.4K video. I've had my Mavic Air 2 for over a year, and it's a great little drone. I mean, it's small, it's compact. I can pretty much stick it in every backpack that I have. I use it for a lot of B-roll shots, when I'm down at the beach, you flying over the ocean, stuff like that. When I'm up in the mountains, you're taking B-roll of the mountains, of rivers. When I go up to Yosemite, I can't use it in Yosemite, but on the way up through the road, I'm flying over the river, stuff like that, and it does just an amazing job. It's a picture perfect, clear signal. The images you get in 4K are amazing. You really can't ask for much more out of such a small, compact, and fairly inexpensive drone. So the main reason I have the drone is for tracking. I use it to track me, like I said, when I'm hiking mountains, when I'm on my mountain bike, even out in the desert in my truck. And depending on what type of activity you're doing, like if you're hiking, the drone has no problem following you because you're not going very quickly. On my mountain bike, sometimes I'm going, over 20 miles per hour, and that's where the drone kind of has a problem following you because it will only track, because of the software, a person on a motorcycle or a bicycle up to about 16, 17 miles per hour. Now, if you're in a vehicle, it will track you all the way up to full speed in 42 miles per hour because of the way the software recognizes the subject. It's either a little tiny man icon or person icon or a vehicle icon. If it's the person icon, it tops out no matter what flight mode you're in at that 16, 17 mile per hour mark. If you are in a vehicle, it will track you in parallel up to, I want to say, in the mid-20s. And then if you're in sport mode, it'll track you all the way up to, 42, 43 miles per hour. So what I was hoping for in the Mavic Air 2S was that they were going to change some of these settings or hopefully come out with some type of beacon like Skydio has to make the tracking software or just the tracking experience a lot better. So when I saw the 2 new sensors on the top and the larger camera sensor, I was hoping, crossed my fingers, that something else was going to be in there to help with the tracking. But from all the reviews that I've watched online, especially the review from DC Rainmaker, he does a lot of just tech reviews and stuff, and I really trust him. He does, everything: Garmin, drones, just hiking stuff, biking stuff, all kinds of things. He's done a lot of review videos comparing the Mavic Air 2 to the Skydio 2. And then once he got the Mavic Air 2S, he also did a comparison between that drone and the Skydio 2. And as far as tracking him on his bicycle goes, the Skydio 2 just destroyed the Mavic Air 2 and the Mavic Air 2S. In this one clip right here, and this is basically the reason why I'm not going to be getting the Mavic Air 2S, is he has it tracking him on his bicycle, and there's some trees in between him and where the drone is. And for some reason, and even DJI couldn't tell him why, the drone tried to drop down and follow him. It got stuck, it clipped a branch, started to fall, clipped another branch, and ended up in the water. So that right there, that small little independent test is enough to tell me that the ActiveTrack 4.0 and the Mavic Air 2S aren't really much better than the Mavic Air 2 and is not worth the upgrade. So yes, the sensor on the camera is much bigger and you can get that 5.4K video, but do you really need it? If you're going to be, shooting those large panoramas or tracking from really high up on the ground, you're not going to really want to pan in too much. You can pan in a little bit and still get that 4K quality, but for most people, the 5.4K is really just a gimmick. You really don't need any more megapixels. The 4K is great in almost 90% circumstances. I'm going to assume all of these are assumptions, and you know what they say about assuming.
You should never assume, because when you assume, you make an ass of you and me.
That, you know, I haven't flown this drone. I've watched several videos on it. Like I said, I watched DC Rainmakers and a handful of other ones. The Active Track 4.0 doesn't seem much better, as you know, you saw from DC's video. And you know, this drone does a really good job of tracking in a straight line, as long as there's not too many objects between the camera and the subject. You know, once you start going behind trees or really large trees or bushes, sometimes the drone will lose you. If you're zigzagging back and forth a lot, like on a mountain bike trail, it's definitely going to lose you, because it just can't, the software just can't keep up with a subject moving back and forth that quickly. So one of the downers of the drone is, because of those two new sensors on the top and the larger video camera sensor, that your flight time has gone down about 3 minutes, which will probably translate to about 4 or 5 minutes of actual use time. One of the things I get asked a lot too in a lot of my Mavic Air 2 tracking videos is, can you adjust where the drone is, where it's going to follow you from? Like, can you make it just stay to your right or just to your left or in front of you? Can you also adjust the height or the angle that it's going to record you at? And you can at the start, and as long as you're moving relatively slow, it will stay, you know, in parallel mode. It might stay to your right or to your left a little bit, but once you start moving, you know, like 10-15 miles per hour, the drone's going to fall behind, and it'll be more of like a 45-degree angle. And if you're going really fast, sometimes even in parallel mode, it'll end up just staying right behind the subject, which I've done a lot as well. Now, as far as the height goes, yeah, you can set the height at the start, but it's not going to stay there. Unless you're staying on a completely flat, no elevation surface, the drone will probably stay at that relative same height, maybe at that relative angle, but the drone does whatever it wants to do. It's going to put itself where it needs to be to track the subject as best as it can. Now, once you start going uphill or downhill, the drone is going to have to adjust that elevation. And you know, especially when I'm going downhill, like on a lot of mountain bike trails, you know, sometimes that drone, it'll start 20 feet from, you know, above me when I start at the top, but by the time I get down to the bottom of the trail, it could be 150 feet up above me trying to track me at that height, just because it can't lower itself quickly enough and track at the same time. One of the other drawbacks to the DJI system is, yes, the drone is foldable. You know, you can pretty much fold it down to maybe about the size of a Gatorade bottle, a large Gatorade bottle, but the remote itself is pretty large. It went from a relatively compact size in the original Mavic Air to the newer kind of big blocky shaped remote of the Mavic Air 2 and the Mavic Air 2S. It's still relatively small, but not as small as, say, like Skydio's Beacon. So like I said, I love my Mavic Air 2. It's done a really good job for me for the most part. You know, getting all that B-roll stuff, all of the tracking that it's been able to do. You know, out in the desert, I had a lot of fun making those videos, you know, with my wife driving and me tracking, you know, my truck going through the desert. Had a lot of fun. But that being said, the drone just isn't good enough at tracking for me to use it on a lot of the mountain bike trails. There's so many trails that I ride that I've tried to get the drone to follow me on, and I just end up just throwing it in the backpack, because it'll, you know, I'll go around one turn, or I'll be going too fast, it'll lose me, it won't be able to keep up. I'll go behind bushes or whatever. You know, some of the trails that I do are pretty exposed and open, and the drone will do a good job following me down those. But anytime there's high bushes or trees, the drone is just not able to keep up and kind of figure out where I'm going to be once I come out on the other side of those trees. So I'm going to be selling my Mavic Air 2. I know, I've had it, I love it. It's a great camera, but I really want to get the Skydio 2. I've been putting off getting the Skydio ever since it came out, because the wait times on it when it first came out was like 6 months, and I wasn't going to wait 6 months. In that 6-month time, the Mavic Air 2 came out. Then COVID hit, and the wait list for the Skydio 2 went all the way out to like 9 months. And just recently I was watching a video on it. Another mountain biker was using his Skydio 2, and I'm like, you know what, I'll check it. and I went on this website, and the wait time is all the way down. It says 45 days. So I ordered my Skydio 2. I put down the $100 deposit about 3-4 weeks ago. I was able to get my hands on a bunch of the accessories, you know, through OfferUp, and saved a lot of money that way. But I wanted to switch to the Skydio 2, and I'm going to be doing all of the same tracking videos that I did with my Mavic Air 2. The Skydio 2, through the use of the phone app and the beacon is a GPS module that you can hold on yourself as well. It's supposed to, and from all the videos that I've seen, has amazing tracking, you know, mountain bikers, motorcycle guys, I mean, just all over the place. So that's more what I needed to do for me, so I can get a better angle and, you know, more video for you guys when I do these trail videos and hiking stuff and whatever. It's just going to track, it seems like, cross my fingers, that it's going to track and do just a much better job, whereas, you know, a lot of times the Mavic Air 2 would just be very frustrating and I would end up just not using it at all. So a couple of things that the Skydio 2 can do that the Mavic Air tracking system won't allow is you can set the drone to record from anywhere 360 around you, you know, frontward, from the front, from the back, from the sides. And for the most part, from the videos that I've watched, it looks like it stays there pretty well. You know, kind of similar to the Mavic Air, is once you start moving really fast or you start swimming back and forth, that angle may change, but for the most part, it looks like it's going to stay there pretty well. You know, once I get the drone in my hands, I'm going to be doing a bunch of testing. I'm going to show you guys everything that I do, you know, screen records to how I edit the footage, all that kind of stuff as well. The other thing you could do too is you can set the altitude. You know, you can make it track you from a higher position and lower position, either using the phone app or the beacon as well. You know, I'm going to do a video just using the phone to see how well it's going to track me, and then I'll do one with just the beacon, then we'll do one with both. Supposedly, from what I've seen, if you use both the app and the beacon at the same time, that's your best way for the Skydio 2 to track you. Not something that the Mavic Air 2 or the Mavic Air 2S has. It's just the phone, and the problem with that is when you have the phone connected to the remote, the phone screen has to stay on. If you like hit the button on your phone to shut down your screen, tracking gets lost. I don't know what it is about the software, but you have to have that phone on the entire time it's tracking you. Some of the most amazing tracking videos that I've seen have been from Nate Hill. He's done a bunch of videos out in Sedona, and I mean, he's just insane. I wouldn't go down half of the trails that he's going down, but the drone is just flying all over the place. It's changing angles, it's changing height, elevation, all that kind of stuff, and it's following him down some amazing trails. You know, I'm showing you some B-roll in the background right now, and there's no possible way that the Mavic Air 2 could have gotten even close to tracking him going down some of these trails. So I'm really looking forward to getting that Skydio 2, showing you guys what it can do as compared to the Mavic Air 2. Like I said, I'm going to put it through all the same torture tests, and we're going to see which one comes out on top. I'm pretty sure, as far as the tracking aspect goes, the Skydio 2 is going to crush the Mavic Air series. Some of the other stuff, like getting B-roll using the Skydio 2 with remote as compared to using the remote for the DJI drones, is probably going to be a little bit different. I think the Mavic Air remote is a really good remote. It's very responsive. You know, you get a really great signal through the remote to your phone screen. You can fly the drone out for miles and you still stay connected. That may be where the Skydio 2 is going to lack, but like I said, for the most part, I want it for the tracking. So if you already have the Mavic Air 2, I definitely wouldn't recommend upgrading to the Mavic Air 2S. You're really not getting that much more for your money. Like I said, I don't think those two top sensors are going to do much better at, you know, kind of finding objects and staying away from stuff. The additional or the extra size of the camera, for the most part, for most people, is really not a necessary upgrade. You know, if you're doing professional work, you might want to upgrade to that, but if you already have the Mavic Air 2, I would just say stick with it. Wait till they come out with a new Mavic Air 3s or the Mavic 3, hopefully sometime this year, probably next year though. if you don't have either drone, if you don't have the Mavic Air 2, the Mavic Air 2S it looks like a great drone. Like I said, I haven't flown one myself, but from all the videos I've seen, I mean, it's going to be a minor improvement over the Mavic Air 2. And if you don't mind spending the extra $200, I would say go ahead and get it. So if you had that Skydio 2 and you're using it for tracking, let me know down in the comments what you're tracking. You know, are you on your mountain bike? How's it doing tracking motorcycles as well? Because I get a lot of questions about guys trying to use the Mavic Air series to track them on motorcycles, and they're having a lot of problems with it. So if you're using that Skydio 2, or if you're using the Mavic Air 2 or the Mavic Air 2S, let me know down in the comments how well it's working for you guys on motorcycles. And if you have the Skydio 2 already, tell me about your experience with it, so we can kind of like get a group thing going here where, you know, if you're having one problem with it, maybe I can help you, or maybe someone else in the comments can help you try to figure something out as well. So like I said, in the comments, just let me know if you guys have problems, if there's anything I can help you with. You know, I get a lot of questions about the Mavic Air 2, and I try to help out people as best I can. I think the Skydio 2 is going to be a better drone for tracking. Now, overall, like taking pictures and getting B-roll, that kind of stuff, the Mavic Air series is probably going to be a better bet. But if you want it for tracking, like I said, all of those tests are going to be coming as soon as I get my hands on that drone, and I'll show you guys, you know, side by side what we're going to get out of it. So thanks a lot for watching. I really appreciate it. Make sure you do all that fun stuff for me, please. Smash that like button, share, comment, definitely subscribe to the channel. You know, those subscriptions help out. The more likes you put on there, the more this video will get out to other people. If you are subscribed, thank you very much. Please make sure you hit that bell notification so that you do get notified when I come out with new videos, especially all those Skydio 2 videos I'm going to be doing as well. And last but not least, click on one of these boxes in the corners. One's going to take you to a favorite video, another one that YouTube thinks you should watch, and you can click that logo over there, the Urban Outdoorsman SoCal logo, to subscribe. Thanks a lot.